Hey folks, it's Charlie again. Today we want to do a very brief video on ramps. Some people, when you first get injured, you're laying in the hospital in rehab and your folks or whomever are trying to figure out how we're going to get you home, how we're going to get you in the house. So this is more or less some little hacks on ramps. This first ramp here is just a single folding ramp, a little less than $100 on Amazon. You can see that it's good for probably one step or a bump up. A lot of people have transitions in their house, so good for one step, a real easy, quick fix. You could also make this out of plywood with some reinforcing if you needed to. Handy little ramp to have. You can fold it up when it's done. And anyways, nice little tool. The next ramp I'm gonna show you is the cheap, let's get into the house, let's get into my buddy's house. And that's just a couple 2x10s. I use them all the time at people's houses. So let's look at one just on the back of my car perhaps. This obviously, a 2x10, wicked sturdy. And one little trick with this, I had this in Florida. I wanted a ramp for my buggy to bring over to a friend's house without my camper. And just got the Home Depot, $11 a piece. My only suggestion is while you're at Home Depot, measure the length of your car, how far it will be, or your van, and then have them cut it right there for you. So for 33 bucks, I ended up with a beautiful stable ramp to put one of my beach buggies right in my van. Wicked simple. And this can work for your house too, or your friend's house. Just getting in. I don't think you're gonna break it. If you're worried about it, you're in a power chair, you can always put some bracing right under the middle. Pile up a cinder block or pieces of wood, whatever. Then you're sure you got enough strength to cover the span. This next little ramp is something I use quite a bit. This is an old extension ladder, 16-foot extension ladder. Cut the bottoms off to mate it with the ground so there's no bump. If you're wondering how to figure that angle, just take a flat piece of wood, lay it on the ground, and then trace that angle onto your ramp before you cut it. But this, is just a aluminum extension ladder, very strong. Okay, can handle, I bet you 300 pounds, and if you got two of them, you're good for 600. Never been a problem with the weight. Just took a little 1/4-inch piece of plywood and slid it right under the edges on the ladder, and it fits right in. A real quick fix and cheap. Cheap, cheap, cheap. This other ladder is a bit unusual. This is an old extension ladder that my father had, a wooden ladder. I was gonna throw it out because I have an aluminum one now, it's lighter. But my buddy Pete needed one for his pickup truck to get his, the beach buggy we're building. But he doesn't want these sticking out of the back of his pickup truck. And he has a tonneau cover on his truck. So we just cut it in half basically. And this is a folding ramp. As you can see, heavier, but same idea. 1/4-inch piece of plywood up the center. These are a little bit of a aluminum holders on it and some heavy hinges. So this can be folded right in half. Do the same job. If you don't have room, you got to get it in your trunk or something. Well, you can figure all of that out with wiggle room. Now, as far as getting into the house, let me just show you a couple little tricks because sometimes, you know, people aren't that mechanical. So let's go to my front steps and just take a look at a couple quick solutions. Okay, let's talk about getting into houses and quick fixes, little hacks, get you home from the hospital, that type of thing, or maybe a one-shot deal into your friend's house. The 2x10 idea, very inexpensive, and when you put it up, you want it to mate with the last step of the house. So you put your 2x10 or your 2x12, I'd recommend 2x12s if you're using this. It'll be a couple bucks more, no big deal. And if you need to, you can put edging on the side of it. just in case you're a bad driver, and safety first. But if you look at this ramp, it does not fit up against the last step. Hopefully that last step would be the landing of your house. To get around this, just grab here's a 3x4. Just gonna stick that underneath it. Most any piece of wood will work. Yeah, you stick it underneath it, then you bring it closer to the bottom of the ramp until you've got a perfect fit. Now you can just take some big screws and screw this right down, and every time you'll have a perfect fit and the ramp won't move. So that's just a quick fix. The next thing you want to do, let's say you have 5 steps. Well, you might need a 16-foot ramp. I don't know if you've checked out the prices. A 6-foot ramp, aluminum ramp on Amazon is about $800. A 16-foot ramp, you're talking in the thousands, okay? Engineered correctly, grab bars. But just to get you home from the hospital, you can run over to Home Depot, buy a 16-foot extension ladder, buy 2 sheets of 4x8 sheets of plywood. Even 1/4 inch will work. I'd say if you're gonna go 16 feet, go 3/8 or 1/2 inch if you want to. Rip that down the middle, have them do that for you at Home Depot, and then just screw those down onto the ladder. Put the ladder up, do the same thing you just did with a board to make it come out perfect. If you need to cut the bottom, fine. If you're on grass, just dig out some grass and dirt and sink the ladder down into it. Then it can't slide backwards on you. So you want to make sure you get it right. And if you're worried about the weight, let's say you got a guy in a power chair, you're talking 400 pounds before you even put somebody in the chair. So you're going to have 600 pounds on 2 ladders. That's 300 each. And you might be on there too, just guiding him or making sure it goes great. So what to do? Build a trestle underneath the middle of the ladder. Make it so the ladder is supported and can't bend, can't fold. And that's all you need to do. You get them in and you can work out the details as to a real professional ramp later on. Getting enough money to do these things, the wheelchair game is super expensive. You might be looking at $5,000 to have somebody come put a small ramp in at your house. Killer. But the other thing that you can use, if you only have, let's say 7 feet, you can buy staging platforms, and they're good for 75 pounds a foot. So they're made very ruggedly. Those also will work if you're worried about the weight. But 2x12s, you can buy a 12-foot 2x12, whatever it takes, make it happen. This last example here is an aluminum channel. A buddy of mine in a power chair had these, and he passed away. But he would take these 12-foot ramps with him if he was going to somebody else's house and needed to get in. Let's face it, there's no way you're going to pick him up safely, carry him in the house, and carry in his wheelchair. Or worse, carry him in a power wheelchair in. You'd have to be Hercules, all right? So, this type of thing worked out beautiful for him. I've used it going into people's basements to watch the Super Bowl. Goofball stuff like that. You got enough guys around. It's dangerous, yes, but with 3 or 4 guys holding your wheelchair back, you're going to be safe going down or up. Plenty of horsepower. But the idea here is make it work. There are all kinds of solutions out there. Let's wrap up this little talk on ramps. If you have something like I have, 4 feet out of the ground, that's 48 inches. To beat a code, you'd have to have a ramp 1 in 12, which would be 48 feet long. Buku dollars, okay? A simpler solution might be to just get a lift. These elevator lifts or house lifts, they're pretty common on eBay, they're common on Facebook Marketplace. So you can find one in your area probably for $4,000 or $5,000 and have a safe solution. Very simple. The way it works, it's just a chain fall, a motor with a gear reduction up there with it pretty much a motorcycle chain on it. And all it does when you hit the up button is you turn on the motor and the chain lifts you up. So this one I've had for about 30 years. Thank you, Joe. Still using it. And then it stops. There's a little limit switch, stops it at the correct height. And Bob's your uncle. So ramps are not for every situation. You can even buy these that go almost 2 stories, which is pretty high. And getting it and installing it is not rocket science. Usually you just plug it in. And everything else, the limit switches, anybody can show you how to set those. So hopefully this is helpful. Get out there and make something happen. Yeah, he's right there.